I'll lead it off here. Our thoughts and prayers are with Damar Hamlin and his family and his loved ones and his teammates, the coaches, the entire Bills organization. We've always had a great deal of respect for them. I think that's grown much deeper, obviously, with what we've all seen transpire. And so certainly we're pulling for Damar, hoping for the most positive outlook, and looking forward to him seeing all the support that he's getting from his team, his community, people around the league, his family. That'll be a great day when he's able to see that. I also want to point out a lot of other people that I thought just did an outstanding job handling the situation the other day. All the medical professionals that were involved, the Bills trainers, the Bills doctors, our trainers, our doctors, the paramedics, the emergency response team. I thought that they were on it. They were composed. It was obviously a complicated situation on the field that everybody was trying to process. And for me personally, being down there and seeing the composure that everybody involved had, obviously not knowing how the situation was going to unfold, I was led to believe that it was going to be positive because of how they handled it. And I think that's important to point out, that they were prepared and that they gave Damar the best chance. So that was well done by all them, and I was really impressed and thankful for the work they'd put in to be ready for moments like that, and the way they handled it, I think, was important for everybody to see. I also want to point out University Hospital, the doctors and the nurses that are over there helping Damar and his family, the security over there that's doing their best to allow them to maintain their privacy. Obviously, as an organization, we're doing everything we can to support them, but at the same time, give them privacy. And so I think that's something you've really seen both communities rally around. Buffalo, Cincinnati, the NFL community really rally around Damar and the Bills. And we're doing everything we can to support them and make them feel comfortable, but at the same time, make sure that they have privacy as a family to manage this situation. I also want to point out the officials, Sean Smith and his crew. I thought did a tremendous job handling a situation in which there was no rule book, there's no protocols for how to handle that. I thought that they really did a good job of everyone that was on the field could feel the seriousness of the situation, and they did a great job of stepping back and asking the Bills what they needed, us what we needed, giving us the space to process. I thought that they just did a tremendous job of allowing all that to unfold and everybody getting to the decision that ultimately was to get to. But I thought that Sean and his crew really managed a difficult situation in which there's really not much precedence that I've ever been a part of. I thought that they handled that really well. And again, just Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane and the entire organization, their support in the moment for Damar, and you could just see how that team felt about him and the impact he has on them. Was class all the way. I always knew Sean. We never worked together, never had a meal together or anything, but always had respect for him. But seeing the way that he handled his team, just deepened that respect for him and verified everything that I always thought he was about as a man. And, just to kind of give context of what we were dealing with on the field as it happened. Because I've watched the TV copy just to kind of see what everybody else saw. And if you think about it, we're on the field. We've been in that situation many times where there's an injury to an opponent, and you give them the space to operate. So as our team made it on the field, and you could see the reaction of the players that were out there and how they were impacted, mostly their guys, a couple of our guys, you could quickly see the seriousness of the nature, that it was different than anything we'd experienced. And during those moments, all everyone's hoping for is the best case scenario with Damar. No one's processing whether this game is going to be played or delayed. That's not going through anyone's mind. I've seen the TV copies now, and everybody else was kind of forced to think that way because they're not down there in the moment. So people get a chance to process what's going to happen. That never crossed any of our minds. It was just, how is this player gonna be okay? So then when the ambulance starts to pull away is really the first moment anyone gets to even think about anything. And in that moment, it came together with Sean McDermott and the officials kind of led the way there, and it was determined, just to take a few moments as teams to just process what had happened and separate and go to our sidelines and just take a few moments to process because no one had that chance. I look at Sean and those players, all they were doing is looking at their teammate and their brother and hoping for the best there. That's the only thing going through their minds. I didn't say a word to anybody the entire time except for TB, who knew Damar, and I could tell that he was going through it. So I could just see the expressions on Jordan Poyer's face and Josh Allen's face and TB's face, and so you're processing just how awful the situation was. We separated as teams. The officials again did a great job of coming over to me and saying, "Hey, they're still trying to process this moment here, Coach McDermott and their team." And so instead of playing telephone on separate sidelines, the decision was made just to go over there and make sure we're all, talking together. And I won't disclose any of the private conversations Sean and I had except for this. When I got over there, the first thing he said was, "I need to be at the hospital tomorrow, and I shouldn't be coaching this game." And so that to me provides all the clarity because there was no unprecedented is the word that gets thrown out a lot about this situation because that's what it is. But in that moment, he really showed who he was, that all his focus was just on Damar and being there for him, being there for his family at the hospital. And at that point, I think everything trended in the direction it needed to trend, and the right decisions were made there. But again, just the way that I really felt Sean McDermott led in that moment for his players. He was there for his players. He processed the right way, which is incredibly difficult, and really helped us get to the solution that we needed to get to. I think was really good. So that's really all I have about the situation. Again, the thoughts and prayers should be with Damar and his family. The support with the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, we've got people on our team that are affected that knew Damar from high school, Cal Adamitis. Tyler Boyd played with him. Plenty of guys are around him in the offseason that had relationships with him. And so we'll continue to support those guys and our players on our team. But again, a lot of support goes to the Buffalo Bills and Damar and his family.
What's been the message to the team in the times you've spoken? Like was today the first time you got everybody back in the building?
Yeah, the players were in a little bit yesterday. Some guys got their lifts. Communicated a lot to the captains just to keep them of abreast of the situation, and then we'll meet this afternoon as a team.
What did you communicate to the captains? What was the message?
There's a lot of things I think that we'll just keep private as we manage the situation the best we can, and that's one of those things we'll keep to ourselves.
As the leader of this team, how do you walk the balance of obviously what people are dealing with mentally,
Yeah.
what happened on Monday, but also knowing you do have to play a really important game on Sunday? Like, how do you deal with that as the leader of this team?
Yeah, I think Vinny Ray, our team chaplain, has helped with his messaging to a lot of different people that way. And one of the things I've taken from that is you do have to move forward as a team because we do have a game to play on Sunday, and we do have to move focus towards that. But at the same time, you don't have to move past the situation that's happening right now, and we can still provide support for the players that need more of that, for their family who's still 2 miles away here at University Hospital, for the Bills. So you're able to have space to do that at the same time as a team move forward to focusing on Baltimore on Sunday.
Has there ever been anything in your career, Zach, that compares to this or gives you some type of background to help you handle something like
No, not like this. I've never been a part of something like that on the field. And again, there's no protocols for that. You just have to. It's different when you're on the field and you can see the expressions and feel the moment, and that part was hard to process in real time. And then as you step away and you get a couple of minutes to do that, you're able to process a little bit more. And again, like I said, I think we all moved in the right direction there.
So how's your visit to the hospital yesterday?
It's just I want to respect the privacy of their family with all that and what they're going through right now, and again allow them to feel supported from those who are here locally and with the Bills, and hopefully that they're feeling that.
Like you said, there's no handbook, but you talked about the officials. What about your team, the fans? I mean, the way everybody
Yes.
comported themselves pretty strong.
Yeah, and that's another part of it. Is again as the teams are in their locker rooms, and instead of just staying in our locker room, and the Bills being in their locker room, which is halfway around the stadium, and the league trying to go back and forth. It appeared just the easier thing was just to me go down there and await the information closer, so people weren't running down the hallways. While that was happening, our captains came down the hallway at me, and they told me that they wanted to speak to their captains for the Bills. And at the moment, I wasn't sure how to take that information. I wasn't sure what the right thing to do there was. I told that to Sean. Sean went and got his captains. When you saw both those groups of players interacting, you immediately knew that was the right decision. To see, I think both sides needed that. Both sets of players, the leaders on the teams. So for them to come together, it really, again, I stood back and watched, and you could tell that's something that both locker rooms needed. And so I'm appreciative that our captains responded that way, and that was the thought to do that. Ton of respect for Josh Allen, Jordan Poyer, the group of captains that they had that came out of the locker room, Stephon Diggs, Case Keenum, I saw a bunch of other guys, so Mitch Morse. So, there's certainly, I think those guys all handled it the right way and with class.
There's so many new things that you have to navigate. How are you handling it personally?
Well, that's part of what you deal with. I think talking about it and what you saw and what you felt helps the situation as well. It's make no mistake that this was a man that was in their locker room that they had deep relationships with, that they had helped grow and develop and spent a lot of time with. Whereas I didn't have that relationship with him. I never saw him on the field, and so I don't pretend to have gone through what a lot of those other people went through, and so. There's a lot of processing that people that are much closer have to, just as respect for other human beings. It hurts your heart to however you saw it unfold. It's unfortunate, and then to know that there's family in the hospital. There's a mother whose son's in there, and to have kids yourself, that hits a little closer.
We're with us though with NBC News. We just have two questions if you'll allow it. You mentioned the family. We're getting updates from them that his condition is improving. So having seen this happen yourself and having visited him, what's your reaction to that?
No, I don't have any information. I just want to clarify. I've only seen them momentarily. So again, I don't want to go down that road. But any information about his health will come from other people.
Just to hear that from his family. I mean, just
Yeah.
as a human.
Well, of course, we're all praying for the best possible outcome here, and so any information that's trending in a positive direction is, no matter what the timing of that is what everybody hopes to hear and has prayed about.
Zach, like you
And
said,
then we wanted to ask really quick, you talked about the back and forth on the field, and we really appreciate it. We did just want to ask if you can clarify, were the teams ever asked or told that they were going to resume play?
I think everyone needed just moments to process what had happened, because again, that's really why I wanted to divulge the situation. While everyone was on the field, firsthand feeling and seeing the emotions that were happening, not one person was thinking about what was about to happen. And so until that ambulance drove away, it was probably the first moment where anybody even thought about why we were on the field in the first place. And I think everyone just needed a few moments to separate, process. And then ultimately, the officials did a great job of just allowing us to do that. And then once you get wind that, Buffalo needs to talk about it a little bit more, particularly Sean. That's why we went over there. And then again, when the first thing out of Sean's mouth is, I need to be at the hospital with Damar. That's kind of a no-brainer for everybody who was involved in that conversation to let's separate and let the NFL take the next steps, which they did. So that's all I have on that.
Kind of on that note, what were the conversations like with you, the Bengals, and the league, and specifically what ended up leading to the game being postponed?
Well, I don't know the information on all that. I just know we got our players in the locker room, there really wasn't much information to give. There was a lot to process. Again, unprecedented is the word that comes up a lot because it is, and I think you want to gather all the information before people make a decision. I'm not a decision maker in that situation. I just wanted to make sure that we all had the accurate information at the same time, and ultimately, ultimately those who make the decision got to the right decision, and that's all that matters.
So just to clarify again, real quick. When you guys, because I think we saw y'all warming up first before the Bills defense ended up taking the field before the game ended up being suspended and then postponed. Was that just a matter of guys getting loose just in case, and there was no directive that, hey, you guys are returning to play? Y'all
Right.
didn't receive that?
I didn't feel any directive that guys need to start warming up. It was just, let's particularly give Buffalo space to process as a team, because they had not done that. They had just been there for Damar. And so then we've been through this situation a million times where there's an injury on the field, something happens on the field, and just the natural process is, you give yourself a couple minutes. I believe there's so much that happened that I can't even really recall. My process of remembering is that that's really just what unfolded. There was no push for anything to happen. It was just let's let these moments play out and see what the next step is as people get a chance to get their minds right, and ultimately that's what led the decision there.
Zach, what was your reaction just to the city of Cincinnati and just all the support, not just for the Bills, but for Damar and everything you've seen around the city the last couple of years?
Yeah, unbelievable. It's bigger than football, obviously. It's taking care of people. I think Cincinnati and Buffalo are very similar that way, just the communities and the way that the people are. And so, again, that's just been I'm not out and about, right? I'm here, so I don't get to see all that. But I know what my wife tells me. I know what I've seen, and just the outpouring of support has been incredible. It's not surprising. Just you all know my feelings about Cincinnati. People I know in Buffalo, it's the same way. So again, just two communities that have been there for each other, and then on a larger scale, just the NFL community. You look at the other organizations, the players, the coaches, the fan bases. I think everybody has appropriately done what's needed to be done here to support Damar. And again, we had a stadium full of people that were in a situation that's never happened before, where the game is called off for the night and people are left not knowing what to do. And for our fans to understand that and handle that the right way and just be supportive of the Bills, I thought was very classy. And that's much appreciated by everybody involved.
Zach, how's T handled this?
T has handled it well, and again, I'm not standing next to him directly at all times, but my communication been with him is that he's doing okay.
For you personally, I know it was kind of like just a lot going on at one moment, and you obviously have to be strong for all of the men and your coaches that you're leading, but was there a moment for you where everything that happened really hit you and you were emotional about it?
Well, no, I think just seeing their players, that's what hit you is just the gravity of the situation when you saw, the reactions of them. And TB for me was initially when I saw him and saw how far out there he was, the Pitt connection hit me. So then I asked, that was the only conversation I think I had the entire time I was out there was TB, did you know him? Yeah, that's my guy, and that part hit you.
Getting back on the field Sunday is one thing, but to get back on the field against that same team, seeing those same faces again, what's your stance on making that game up?
Yeah, I don't, what we're doing as a team right now is have to move forward to Baltimore, and we'll let those decisions take place amongst those who want to make them. But all that's really in front of us right now is to get ready for Baltimore on Sunday.
Does it feel weird just to put everything to the side and focus on football right now?
Well, I think that's what we're tasked to do, and again, you don't have to put it aside. It's our time in the building at the appropriate times is focused on Baltimore and getting ready for that game. And at the same time, there's still a place to have conversations with Benny Ray, our team chaplain, Eric Ball, Peter Ganscher. There's a lot of people here that are great resources, that have always been great resources, and that have always been prepared for moments that are less than ideal. And so I think that's what everybody's done a great job of, is communicating to make sure that there's an awareness that those resources are available. You can do two things at once. You can prepare for a football game on Sunday, and you can still support Damar, support those who knew him and are dealing with some emotional stuff during this time. And I think that's, so those resources are available, and our guys know that.
Do you think it could give a player pause, especially with this quick turnaround? I mean, you were a player. I mean, with that.
I can't speak for all them, and again, those are decisions that everybody's got to make, and certainly welcome me of all those choices guys got to make.
So piggyback off that, so if someone, what would the response be if someone said, you know what, I just don't feel comfortable?
Those are things that, as they come up, you address them.
Kind of on that note, too,
Let me get Mike real quick.
Are you at all concerned, Zach, it's a physical game. The mental part of this impacting a player's acceptance of playing a physical game going forward.
I think people know what they're signing up for. And again, this was a tough situation. My understanding, based on the information we have, it's a one in very small chance of that happening. And so, that's players that play football know that they know what they're getting into. It's the less than ideal part of the game, but again, it's a known part of the game.
And on that previous topic, do you expect everyone here to make this player's process?
I do.